Hey, good morning, everybody. It was more of the same yesterday, and I don't know how we have any expectations other than that we're going to get more of the same again until next Tuesday. But hey, news, economic news, and earnings are coming, so we shall continue. Um, Inside day yesterday didn't move very much. Um, we start seeing, well, we got 2 days of rejections. One larger a couple of days ago as it moved up there. But resistance area. News aside, technically it's just been a consolidation, and we saw the same thing here that went on only after the wide range bar. Eyeballing that was about 2 weeks, and at this point, we're about 2 weeks, maybe another day. Um, so mark off the trading range, pivots and pivots. You know, at the moment, a lower high. This may be able to work its way down there. You have to wonder what would give traders confidence other than just day trading, bouncing things off of support and resistance. It's on this one pivot right here. Got these closing prices, just looking at where that lines up on my 65-minute chart. And so maybe if we would have, I don't know, just talking here, filling in the time because not much is happening. Well, we'll look at Bitcoin. Something a little bit there is happening, but maybe if there was like a volume thing that you put on the side here, it might come in this area. Um, I don't know. I say that because most of the time these things where you see a lot of overlapping bars and closes in an area, you might get a point of control with I even forget what the hell it's called. Anyway, the point of control is like the middle area of this thing which looks at 30-minute charts. Or you do a volume histogram to the side, maybe that's there. Um, yeah, thank you, Dan. A market profile. Um, so these we look at the outer edges. Where are those pivots? And you can see they're higher lows. So if you like drawing connecting dots, maybe that lines up with something, but probably breaks it, hits this area here and bounces back up again. We're just marking time. Weekly chart, wide range bar up. There was a correction bar 3, 4 weeks ago. It's consolidating its gains. The trend is up. Major support is down here. These pivot lows prior to a higher high. So this is just consolidating. This minor support right there, staying above there. Things are generally considered okay. The depth of retracement is not anything significant. And so if you like drawing fib lines and any of that kind of stuff, here to here, I guess this is kind of eyeballing it. It's about a 50% retracement. So as I speak about all of these things, no matter what type of analysis you choose to use, it's going to bring you to a conclusion that nothing much is happening right now. Um, and so I think one part of the saving part is that we don't have a sine wave type of situation with our moving averages. And what that means is, what often happens as things consolidate longer, your moving averages start to do this, where you got a longer and a shorter, and they start to, get intertwined like that. And that is just, the we call them like spaghetti screen of a mess with so much indecision. So you can look at many different ways to come to a conclusion as to a market that is confused or uncertain. It's marking time, or you can just look at the prices. As I explained, this is one that's just marking time for right now. What do you think the weekly does this week? What do I think the weekly does this week, right? I don't know. I think everybody is waiting for the earnings of these magnificent 7 or 5 stocks that are going to reporting to see, do they beat? Do they disappoint? Is it whatever? What is expected? And you've got economic news at the end of the week, which does that overshadow the fact that everybody's waiting to see the result of this election? So it's the same conclusion unless there's some kind of really disastrous kind of news. And I don't even think, look, if one of those FANG stocks reports and let's just use the word disastrous, such a disappointment, yes, it'll gap down and that'll affect the markets. But at that point, I think we're going to be more of the same. No one's going to be that confident. Now, supposedly now in the Middle East, they're not there. Last I heard on the news this morning, they don't expect any more rockets or bombs or whatever until after the election. Maybe there's been some agreement, as to wait for that. So, a disastrous thing. Yeah, some giant bomb goes off. They blow up a nuclear facility. The world goes crazy. So that's an unknown. So why think it? Unless you get a reasonable setup that makes sense to do something, sit on your hands, you know, do a credit spread. When things are sloppy like this, credit spreads are usually the go-to. Time to expiration, which I'm going to show you SPX in a minute. Those things are rarely ever hit. So, you have to look at it 10 wide, 15 wide, pick your point in time. It's the melting ice cubes, as it's called. So as you may look at, as many do, is like, look, I would rather do that put spread as the S&Ps are coming down to these pivots, and then I get to go further down. It's like, okay, that's a reasonable thought. However, depending on how long it takes to get down there, the same premium may not be there. So maybe you'd have to go wider. So it's not a complete no-brainer, but if you have some basic guidelines as to doing those credit spreads, you can pick a more optimal point than just doing them at the open. But generally, if you just going by historical, you know, memory, I don't have a spreadsheet to show you, but anybody that looks at, the strikes that we put out on a day-to-day basis, if you just, hey, here's the open, hit the button on both of them and did an iron condor, you'd probably 99% of the time you wouldn't get hit. But the one that does get hit, it's going to hurt. It is what it is. So, all right. So where are we at? Down a little bit here this morning. Not a big deal. Qs, futures, got a little bottoming action here on the 65-minute. This is do nothing. Could we get a green bar? Could we scalp it up? I look at my 5-minute. I see this bottoming tail bar, range expansion. That leads me to think, hey, there's a big mess to the left. If this can chop around for a while here without falling all the way back down there, little bottoming tail bar on the 65-minute, that would be worth watching. And with that, I would take a peek, put a thumbnail up of the semiconductors and see what they're doing. Weekly chart, just marking time, whipping back and forth. Now, the Dow is down at support, as we came in yesterday, and that looks a little weird. Something not right there, it seems. But anyway, it's here on the 50. It's on major support. It's just flip-flopping here. Nasty wide range bar on the weekly. Look, depending on this election, this could be an inside bar by the end of this week doing nothing. And from there, it could be a launching pad up or down, depending on what happens Tuesday night. So not a bad setup. And it was kind of interesting as to, how things ended yesterday. Uh, let's just look at you can see it's just at the top of the range here. Spiders, closed below the open yesterday, just a more doing nothing. You can see the 15-minute range. The Qs, you know, marking time, doing nothing, closed below the range, inside day at the top of a range. There's no setup there to be doing anything. The Russell gaps up and closes well because financials were doing well yesterday. That was, in part what I was trying to cover last night in that video, and something happened in one of the settings. But anyway, it happened. So there was no sound on that video last night, unfortunately. But one of the things I spoke about was what I'm saying here is like, look at how the S&Ps closed, how the Qs closed. The Russell, which is a more speculative index, of course, small caps, did well. And so then why did it do well? Because regional banks did extremely well yesterday. So big, nasty down red bar, gaps up, and is able to go higher. And this morning, I would say at the top of the range. Financials was a big red bar. Now you see a bar like that, and it's like, okay, that's got to come down here to test support. It's in an uptrend, but coming down here, good setup, buy setup. Nope, gaps up, inside day, closes well. It's just, a negative reaction is to a down bar, and let's try and run some stops as the algos move things around and makes normal people crazy if things don't follow through. Yeah. The home builders getting beat up a little bit, and you can see they're gapping down this morning. Why interest rates are moving back up again, and just waiting for this to fill in. See, this is up at resistance, but not quite there yet. And it's surprising that the equity markets are not having a more negative reaction. They're down a little bit, you can see here, but really no big deal. And this 10-year just keeps marching higher. And at this point, it certainly looks like it's 4.4. I mean, that's a humongous, huge move after, this down move. And now this is still not moving up. It's just flat. This is our measure as to what the Federal Reserve is doing. And so the bond market, they take their bets based on what they believe is going to happen. And as this was plummeting, it was like, yeah, they're definitely going to cut. How much are they going to cut? And we went over this at the time that it was down, at least 0.5%. So when there was that big discussion, quarter half, this chart said, no, they're going to do a half. And so at this point, it's saying they're going to do a quarter, but it's flat. And you've got, intermediate to longer term interest rates ripping higher, which is making some uncertainty as to, can they really cut? What are they going to do? So there's a lot of indecision. There's a lot of cross currents right now, and things will start to clear up one way or another after this election. 30-year continuing to move up, pivots a bit higher. So over here, it looked like, oh, maybe they'll pull in a little bit, and the markets will advance. Nope. No. I didn't cover the internals yesterday, but I did post them in the green room after I stopped talking. And this is interesting as well, in that the equity put call ratio is still touching this band. So there's this bullishness in equities, yet the total put call ratio is neutral. It's kind of deteriorating a bit from this extreme bullishness, and then as it went higher, and we don't have any signal here. Breadth has been deteriorating, but it's somewhat normal as markets consolidate. But the high was here, and getting you know, a real bearish divergence, not with oscillators, but to see that under the hood, things were getting worse. Yet the markets are still in an uptrend. And we can see that. And what does that tell me? Probably stocks that are showing relative weakness are likely to continue to show relative weakness. All right, let us look at SPX. Right? We look at SPY, we see where it is, gapping down a little bit, crosshair on the daily. Go to SPX. This off a few minutes ago. I don't know whether it moved a little bit, but we can take a look. And yeah, it moved down a little bit. And these things, they tend to move. Well, sometimes they move fast. As fast as things will move, they will adjust for the most part. $50. So 5 strikes. And if the market pops back up, they'll pop back up. So we do our best to pick the outer edges, day-to-day basis, and then look at where they line up. So this 5,800 area has some large open interest there. So that should be some kind of a floor. And you see as that lines up with some support areas. And that is what I look for to say, okay, I'm looking at high volume strikes or large open interest that would suggest a support or resistance area based on that information. Does it actually line up with support or resistance on the chart? And if it does, just like I look at a moving average, does a 50 MA, which is this green line here, line up with a pivot or some congestion area? And that would validate that subjective reference point. But as far as options goes, that's real money. That's placing those bets there. So I would say a little bit more. I don't know about reliable. 50 MA is really reliable, but something where there's real bets and money placed there. So on a day-to-day basis, when we post these, our initial bias is that neither one of those are going to get touched. And sometimes they are, but not too often. All right, Dan, I think I've gone too far here. We've covered enough. I'm going to hand it over to you. Jim tries to lose track of time.
Good morning. No worries. I went through some of the earnings already, just because it's a heavy S&P week. A lot of gappers today on earnings, up and down. Let me get these alarms here first. So this Home Depot, we had this as a breakdown trade, and even though it traded above it yesterday, I left it open because then that would still be a valid short. But I sent out an alert saying let's just wait 30 minutes before we do anything there. Whiskey Bravo, my up alarm went off, but it's coming in. Daily, weekly, monthly are making a turn. LAC, nice move up here. I sent a telegram alert out earlier, but let me give it to the green room if you missed it. We have long calls, and if we can get a push right through $5, then we'll meet our target here of 355, which is intrinsic value. That's how I came up with that number. Block we've been in for a while, with Bitcoin here, new highs over 71,000. That's a nice continuation pattern. Nice gap over a red bar, gapping up again, looks great. Palladium, we've been in for a while. It's gapping up again. We're just in trail mode. We have a third lot, but it's getting extended. No visual aid far from the 20. AVDX up alarm. We did a half lot yesterday. That's gapping up. Transports. I was watching this yesterday into the close. I reset my alarm 70 spot 30. Casey, we bought yesterday. Looks great. The weekend letter. All right, let's go to earnings now. Oh, JP Morgan. I posted breakout trade, bank strong. So that's a go over yesterday's high. Earnings here. Ford. That's a big, ugly percent gap down. I don't have a bias for a pattern, so I'm just going to delete it. This gapping down here to 1020, big gap. 30, could get a little day trade bounce out of it. This thing's getting whacked. That's a monster gap. 34, $32 down. So I got to come back to it. I don't know what it's going to do. 272, big gap up. This is actually a condor candidate now. And then option traders will need some help here at the open because there's a lot of interesting gaps here. So, you don't want to do it if it's ripping, but if it's kind of just bobbling around in the first 10 minutes, then you would want to check 287 call spread and, 250 and below put spread. Wow, Alex, Palladium alarm just went off again. Let me set it higher. Yeah, you got a son of this thing. Looks great. Well, all right. H-lit, a nasty gap. Look at the size of that gap. It's gapping under months of bullish price action. Tricks, put spread idea. It's gapping up here to 70. So I would, I'd want to do the 66s under this base if there's any premium. LEU, no pattern. Amcur, another nasty gap. Look at this. Look at this. It's below a year of data. Nasty. ESI, I have one print up here. This is earnings, but this is 3 bullish inside days on the top third of this wide range igniting. So if it is gapping up here, that's a long watch. I'm gonna put that in a window. ESI. Whiskey Mike opening flat, so no interest. Rambus was down, now back to break even, no interest, no interest. Well, gap breakout looks great. It's not an excessive gap, it's a beautiful one. I put that in the weekend, in this middle chart. So that's this gapping down, TWL, no interest. CDP, I don't see any prints, but it's bullish all time frames. Nari, nice pro gap. All right, see, I would have liked it better if it were opening right at 40, low 45s. So the further it goes, the harder you're chasing. So that's wigging out the reward to risk. I have that on the bottom right here. CWH, $24, bullish gap, but excessive. Bro opening flat. So that's a 30-minute low short idea. Flowers, 51. Bearish gap, failed buy setup. still has a void. But you got the 50 right there. I don't know what it'll do. EHC, bullish gap, but no pattern. Boot getting clocked. Well, not as bad as some of those other ones, but that's nasty. That looks like it might come to the gap fill around 140. This is an excessive gap up. Look at that, 240 is off my charts. Yeah, look, is that all-time highs over there? CBI, nasty gap. 19, look at these. There's some ugly, ugly gap downs today. SPX, nothing. No prints, but let's set an alarm at 4210. Alex opening flat, no pattern. AC, flattish, flattish, slopping around. You know, I'm happy to delete things because you look at too much stuff and you're gonna miss the tier ones. This would be a nice pattern over this high. I'm gonna set an alarm 7240. CR gapping up, put spread under all that base, put spread idea. Safe, no pattern, no prints, but I don't like the way you trade. A big gap up, but not a whole lot of prints. We'll come back. Downtrend, I don't see any prints. Sky 92 and change, put spread idea under the base. That looks like no volume. REG alarm. Ah, that's the one I just set. So this could be a 5-minute high. 5-minute high. NXPI, we did a put spread yesterday, up alarm. So I will just reset it. 250. 253. JP Morgan alarm that triggered. Ah, that lack is coming in hard. You know, I moved the stop. So it's okay, but I would prefer to be selling in strength. Procter and Gamble low alarm. That was in the weekend letter. Let's see what that looks like. PG. All right, that's a go. That's a short. That Nari bottom right took off, so that would say the gap's excessive. That's a gap and go. This well, I got it here. It would be an ideal 30-minute high, or if we get a controlled pullback and reversal. NDAC that triggered yesterday. I just had a low alarm go off, but it's way early. Oh, cute. Oh, 5-minute horseman. It just had an ugly reversal. NXP ice baby alarm. Still nothing. Oh, Yield alarm, but nothing. These are all just early alarms. I always set myself. Home Depot. That's an excessive gap now. Wow. We got to cancel that.
Right on the 50 MA and 390.
Yep, but definitely don't want to be swing shorting it.
Q's having gap fill around 493 area. Not there yet, so. But on those pivots to the left. Same for the S&P, the spiders on several pivots only on a 5-minute chart, but there's support there.
Yeah, Steve, there's no way it's going to get filled. Yep, so I got to cancel it there too, without a doubt. Let me just check the others while I'm at it. But PG was a call spread. So it was short and a call spread, 170, 172. And we're not going to get filled as of now. AXP, nothing. UNH, nothing. Moss. We did not get filled yesterday because I said to hold off, unfortunately. EFGC. Yep. Yep, 30-minute low short. Yeah, that's well. I was watching. It just took off there when I turned my head. JP Morgan, we're in, and PG, we're in. Are any of those credit spreads that I said I liked, did any of those pan out, whoever's watching them? Gee. AVDX. I actually was trying to sell some of mine pre-market. I was offered out at 875, but obviously didn't get filled. But now you can add yesterday's high, 842. Wow, PG is just falling like a rock. Guild, low alarm, but nowhere near our stop. Oh no, my bad. I had stuff break even, 88.40. Okay. I had that tight. But I'm gonna set a new alarm. The new alarm has to be 88.80. Balance is up after I know it was down $5 or so. Wow, nice recovery. Yeah, if there's any juice. What's today? Tuesday under Friday's low. Let me go through some earnings now. Nasty. Well, actually, here's earnings pre-market I did not get to. Yep, there's McDonald's there. Pfizer just can't seem the bottom. Wow, I had this on my core long list. Glad we weren't holding them. That's an ugly gap. Say there's a big gap. That buyer stepped up. Just for the fun of it, check the 150s. $50 by $70. RCL was down, now up. That thing is, it's been the leader in the cruise ships. MSCI looks great. Actually, if you get a 1, 2, 3. Corning, I know that's an igniting gap breakout on Corning. But it's, I'll watch it. Maybe it could be like one of these afternoon breakout trades if it holds strong. Oh, that's an ugly gap. I don't know what to do with it. It all does. Zebra animal sector, you can watch it pull back. Health. I do like it, Alex, but it's it's not really big enough target for the ETF ladder, in my opinion. But for swing trade, sure. Just short the low, stop yesterday's high. Big old nasty gap. Man, I'm not touching these things until they stabilize. There's an igniting gap and go insight. Wow, daily, weekly, monthly. Sophie. This was up this morning, and I didn't get to these with you all, but I had this on my list as a short-term exhaustion gap. But as you can see, it gave it up into the market open. Tag is a no-brainer call spread if there's any juice, 157. EXP, same, 292s, if there's anything. All right, so I'm just throwing out numbers, but I'm not, I need help. All right, I'll look. EXP 292s, there's no weeklies. GPK, sloppy. Rocks, look, that's a nasty gap in the middle of no man's land. Actually looks lower. Oh, that's the ugly shoe company. At least this one's gap in the middle of no man's land, but at least, you know, you got a 200 in this. So this is better than Crocs. Looks lower, nasty gap. Big old topping tail, looks like a magnet to the 200. ESAB, nice igniting bar. Look at this soon I saw last night. I missed that rally yesterday. Alex, your flex, you showed me, but like you said, like volume. JP Morgan triggered and that's going back down. Trump, you know, it's getting climactic. But if it turns into one of those toys, you know, like a Reddit boy toy, then you don't want to get in, you don't want to stand in front of it. Man, look at the 5-minute cues and spiders are craziness. Let's move stop under the low now, 424 on the lack.
Just ping pong, Dan. Just make everybody crazy for a while.
Oh, Greg, on Facebook, I saw you running for commissioner. I thought you weren't doing that.
Well, they dragged me into it. You know, we'll see what happens.
See, Alex, I knew he's a politician at heart.
Not at all. That's what's funny about it. They're scared to death.
Who?
The other commissioners,
Really? How many are up? Oh,
well, two are up, but there's four there, and they all hate me.
really?
You know, you and I are the same, Dan. We hate government and we hate wasteful spending and all that kind of stuff. And a couple of years ago,
Libertarian.
you know, I decided, I looked at the budget and I saw things like $25,000 for the city clerk for advertising. Like, this guy's never done advertising ever. The city manager that makes like 200 grand a year, they had $7,000 for gasoline. These parks that they have lose millions of dollars. So I just made a bullet point list of all of this waste because they wanted to raise our taxes. And I told them, email the manager and the mayor and tell them this is ridiculous. And people did. And I embarrassed them. They lowered the millage rate. And these commissioners, they didn't want to do it. But they, we get the public behind and they did it. So anyway, I'm free from Poinciana. So I go, okay. You got to go to a meeting a month. So that's cool. Steve, you know what? Nobody knows. And so, they have these meetings that they have once a month. They order, little dinner for the people there. Okay, not great. And they order from the most expensive place in the town. And they spend $60,000-$70,000 to order dinner for them. And somebody got pissed off and took a picture of one of the commissioners with a giant plate taking it home.
Our little hive rally, sell a third in the strength. CSI. All right, I still like it. You set an alarm now. 27:20. Nari moved too much. Well, there's no weeklies.
What do you think of GDX? Been lagging gold, and gold moved higher again today. It's a pullback. Give it a little jiggle room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, place to enter if you want it.
Yeah, I mean, I loved if it had a correction bar there, but it doesn't mean we're going to get it.
I think JB Hunt, we did half, I think. Yeah. Yeah, that's what our hive, I think is same sector. The hive look great on a monthly here too. We've been in it since this bar. So actually I remember it was 2 weeks ago in the letter. It closed with this big bar, and I gave it as a limit entry, which got filled on that Monday. Yep, I remember. So that worked out perfect. It's not bad. Stopped yesterday's low. Or under this shelf here, under 18 bucks. Looks good. Let me see it. Usually has pretty good premium. Make sure. Naked puts 18.50. 31 cents. So you can do the 18s for 19 cents. That's what I'll do. All right, I sold some 18s. We're right at break even here on this thing, but it did have a nice gap up. Vandal marijuana holding well. Zoom from yesterday looks good. Yeah, this is the one I sold $73 puts on. AD line kept down to negative 1,500, making a new high now at negative 1,200. Semis here still trying to make the turn. I had a small little up alarm. Yes, I alarm, but it's slopping around. Hey, LAC is approaching $5. Might get our target. The puts on this thing, $25 puts, 25 by 50. So I'm gonna try to play market maker, go out at 45. Yeah, we're getting closer on lack. On our target, I just wanted to poke through 5. Looks higher though, but it's, you just got to decide how tight you want to manage it to how much do you want to squeeze out. It looks like it can go to 550 on the weekly, but then the question is, how much do you want to give back to try to get it? Well, Alex, yeah, they're not the same measurement, but yeah, Greg's market internal that showed, um, that bullish put call. 510, so we met our target, so we're out of black.
I've never seen the two of them diverge like that for so long, even that much. I didn't know Kathy Woods was ever in Miami.
Well, she's not next month.
Oh, do not miss her. Well, Crossroads Summit. Where are they going to have it? Let's see. Having a lot of speakers there. Where are they doing it? "22 days. Oh, till we get there. All right. So where's the location? $2,000 to hear them speak? I don't think so.
Man,
5,000 for a VIP. You get to kiss the ring.
incredible.
75% off. Hmm.
Wow, good thing Guild, we stopped out break even. Let's have another low alarm go off. Something's not right with that today.
This Maras filling the gap here. We wait for a little turn, but
Mara,
we'll get it cheaper. Guess they haven't picked the location because it just says Miami, Florida.
wow, they don't have it picked.
I would assume. Otherwise, how foolish would it be not to put the location where it is?
Right, right. I'm shocked that they didn't, right? All right, Paul, low alarm. Um, let's keep it super tight right here. 110.87. Or do you just want to kill it now, Greg? I'd give it $1 lower.
Yeah, well, it's in the gap fill. It might
Right.
fail.
That's what I mean. All right, I'll give it 110.65.
Palladium. Coral Gables. Yeah, it's a little bit of a ride from where I am.
Yeah, particularly Miami traffic. Yeah, our put spread's doing fine. Stop going nowhere. Well, we're almost at 50% of max profit. Let's tighten the stop here. Right under 247.